Hey everybody, welcome to Regulatory Joe. I'm Joe Boyle, president of ClearFile, and today we'll be discussing what happened with the plan year 2027 NBPP and what's next for issuers. We all know that on a traditional plan year cycle, the NBPP drops in mid to late November or early December on the current plan year or calendar year cycle. Really having that rule codified and finalized in February and March of each calendar year allows that issuer ample time to prepare and plan their internal stakeholders to make all the necessary changes so that their ACA plan filing is compliant. Now, with respect to the notice of benefit payment parameters in itself, finalizing that federal rule in February of March also, furthermore, separate to issuers, allows states and your regulators and your reviewers to then issue any state response or state mandates or policies that would either react to or help strengthen their rules for that plan year. So what makes this year very unique, and what some may say an anomaly of sorts, is that the NBPP was not actually released until Q1 of the current year of this plan year filing season, and not actually finalized until May 15th, which is past some states' actual state filing deadlines for the rates, forms, and binders for plan year 2028. So what we did see was a number of states hold firm on their deadlines, still requiring issuers to submit on time with the unknowns of what will be finalized in the NBPP and what will not be finalized that may require changes that are uncontrollable from the state to the issuer. Other states, on the contrary, took a very proactive approach by eliminating the state submission deadline until the NBPP was final. Almost every single one of the parameters was finalized, if not strengthened, in that final rule that was released on May 15th. But just a couple things that actually changed, including the elimination of non-standard plan design limitations. At the end of the day, there's one common theme to every NBPP, regardless of the timing of when it's released in the calendar year, is that with every presidential election, issuers should expect substantial and monumental shifts in federal policy that will drive and inform state rules that will indeed ultimately impact your filings, your rates, your forms, your binders, and how you implement your product to market for enrollment. So what caused delays for the states? What we saw for the first time is states delaying their filing and binder configuration and state filing requirements in SERFF, the electronic system for rates, forms, and binder filings, where all issuers, health plans across any segment, across any market, with respect to direct enforcement states that go directly to CMS and HIOS, must submit filings. So there's a misconception that you can start your work, and at the end of the day, when the NBPP is released, all you have to do is hit submit if nothing changed. That's not the case. And for that matter, SERFF does not automatically notify you as states are configuring their settings either. So we encourage you all at the beginning of each plan year to check SERFF multiple times a day, at minimum 3, check your alerts and check your messages, and ensure that your state settings are configured, because we did see a lot of rework for health plans this year who were not aware of those dependencies, and we can set goals and measurement for improvements next year. Furthermore, on a federal level, we do know with respect to SERFF, all initial submissions go into SERFF, and generally speaking, again, if you're not a DE state, you have to request plan transfer. And when you request plan transfer, that's when SERFF talks to HIOS. As issuers are working in MPMS, we did see limitations where applications, or the QHP application window, did not open until the NBPP was released. So we do know that the added layer of complexity and nuance with HIOS is access. So with respect to the application window, that's one thing, but especially if you're a new market issuer and you have not set up your company IDs, your issuer IDs, your product IDs, or your actual infrastructure that goes behind the scenes in Plan Finder product data collection, that could take, in realistic terms, up to 72 hours for your company to get stood up. So with respect to unknown technical barriers that a filer may encounter due to a system not being available yet by CMS or SERFF, we encourage you all to request access early at the beginning of each plan year, so you're not scrambling at the 11th hour waiting for your ORA approval, your CMS account manager, or your leadership. My best advice for all health plans and issuers out there is to build 2 implementation plans and project plans and timelines for plan year 2028 and start that now. And it may sound silly at first, and it may sound like an additional or duplicate work for that matter, but again, with the unknowns, we have to go off of final deadlines for the current year that we're filing in, and final actions and activities that state and federal government take to set our benchmarks and baselines for next year. So again, you already have your baseline timeline for the November release of the draft and the February final, which you can keep in place. We would recommend that all issuers develop a second timeline to account for the draft NBPP released in February and finalized again in May. We also recommend all issuers take any state deadlines that were altered, modified, or changed, or suggested to be changed by the states they're participating in, and also researching new markets that you look to expand into to understand those nuances and requirements in a year of uncertainty. This is also a great time to engage your health plan associations ahead of enrollment, because we do have a number of months where you can put together your implementation plans to then have more ample time to focus on enrollment, making sure you're not just growing, but retaining your book of business, and then understanding any plan matches that your issuer may receive from issuers exiting the market at the beginning of this year. There is strength in numbers, especially with health plan associations. You can gather with your issuer partners and colleagues to understand what similarities you have for concerns with CMS in your states that you respectively participate in, and where there could be disagreements. With a unified voice, public comment is always welcomed, especially as CMS is preparing changes for their annual releases. At the end of the day, we do know that the NBPP does go unnoticed for the second half of the year until we hit Q4, and when everybody starts asking that question around the holidays, when will it be released? When will it be released? Really, it's around the fall NEIC meeting where this is a large topic of discussion, but I encourage everybody not to run away from this. So while it is a very lengthy, complex, long federal rule, understanding and harnessing the timeline could be the hardest part. Building your implementation plan around it could offer a very good opportunity for issuers looking to enter the marketplace for plan year 2028. So if I had to leave everybody here with one final comment, we truly cannot anticipate or control the timeline in which CMS operates on for the NBPP. But what we can do is control how prepared we are to implement a sound, compliant strategy for the next upcoming plan year. Thanks again, everybody, for listening. Give us a like, give us a share, and we'll see you all next time.